The wedding everyone was eagerly awaiting, the most eligible bachelor in the world marrying an American actress. The number of rumors and dramas surrounding this wedding seems endless to this day, but one cannot deny its uniqueness and beauty. Let's take a look at Harry and Meghan's wedding. Hi, my name is Anna and welcome to On Royals, where I talk everything royal related. Today we're going back to 2018 and 2017 even to talk about Harry and Meghan's wedding, a big royal celebration that happened in Windsor on 19th of May 2018. I'm gonna talk everything from the wedding gown, guests, preparations, and controversies. But for this, you have to wait a bit. This marriage gave hope not only for a happy life of the younger son of Charles, because Harry was, as I said, the most eligible bachelor in the world and probably the most wanted one, and everyone were hoping for a great future for him. He met Meghan, and she also brought a lot of hope into the royal family. This match supposed to strengthen monarchy and support the royal family. After 6 years, we can say that not everything went as we imagined in 2018. However, let's jump back to 2017 and 18 and think about how we perceived Harry and Meghan then. So, when and where was the wedding? Who was the groom and who was the bride? Harry and Meghan's wedding took place on May 18th, 2018 at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. It was exactly in the premises of the Windsor Castle. The bride, Meghan Markle, or rather Rachel Meghan Markle, was 37 at the time, and Prince Harry, frankly speaking, Prince Henry of Wales, was 34. We know quite a lot about Harry and Meghan's relationship, and yet we have so many versions that, frankly speaking, it's hard to say what really happened. In short, the couple met through mutual friends. In the Netflix documentary, Harry and Meghan, Harry says that Meghan caught his attention on Instagram through a mutual friend. They started talking on Instagram and then they met for a date in London in July 2016. In August, trying to deal with the distance between them, they went together for a few days of holidays to Botswana. The couple enjoyed several months incognito, and they were dating silently without crowds watching them, but in November the relationship came to light. Since then, paparazzi and media were extremely interested in the relationship. But it wasn't until September 2017 when they had their first official engagement, or rather they appeared together officially, and it was during Invictus Games in Toronto. Conveniently, it was where Meghan lived at that time. We didn't have to wait long for the engagement afterwards. But before the engagement, Harry mentions in his book that during a family stay in Sandringham, he asked his grandmother, Queen Elizabeth II, for permission to marry Meghan, as the custom goes and the law in Great Britain. The Queen gave the permission, but in a way that Harry wasn't entirely happy with, perhaps somewhat ironically or sarcastically. He describes this very moment in his memoir, The Spur. Okay, but the engagement. On November 27th, 2017, the Clarence House announced the engagement between Prince Harry and Meghan Markle. And it was announced that the couple will marry in the spring of 2018. The couple got engaged in London, before, of course, the announcement, in the garden of Nottingham Cottage on the grounds of Kensington Palace, where Harry lived at that time. The prince gave Meghan a specially made engagement ring made by Cliff and Company, the jewelers to the Queen, and the ring consisted of a large central diamond from Botswana, where couple spent a few days just after they met, and two smaller diamonds from jewelry collection of Princess Diana. After the announcement, the couple gave an exclusive interview to BBC, and it was the first interview the couple gave together. We can learn the story, the love story of the couple, and more or less what was the engagement like, and we had a first chance to actually see them sitting next to each other on a couch answering some questions. There was also a moment for photographers when the couple posed for commemorative photos in the gardens of Kensington Palace. Meghan had back then a white coat from a Canadian company, Line the Label, and a few hours after the photo shoot it was sold out on the website, and it also was kind of a Meghan effect. In my video about Kate's and William's wedding, I said that also around the engagement, the Kate effect started, and we could see some replicates, and Meghan's effect was kind of similar, and also the coat sold out very, very quickly. Additional official engagement photos were taken by Alexei Lubomirsky. He is a former assistant of Mario Testino, the photographer that took engagement photos of Catherine and Williams, and the pictures were taken at Frogmore House at Windsor and were published by Kensington Palace just before Christmas 2017. And the Christmas were a bit special because Queen broke the tradition and invited Meghan for family holidays, Christmas holidays at Sandringham. And she broke the tradition because, frankly speaking, it wasn't like this before, that unmarried members or that only boyfriends or fiancés of the members of the royal family would take part in the Christmas at Sandringham. It was reserved only to spouses and members of the royal family. So this was an exception. During the wedding preparations, as it turned out later, Meghan also joined the Anglican Church, and she was baptized by the Archbishop of Canterbury in March 2018. Why they actually did wedding in Windsor and not in London? So the wedding took place on the Saturday, 19th of May 2018 at St. George's Chapel in Windsor. And the chapel is under royal jurisdiction and has incredibly rich history. The chapel is located within the grounds of Windsor Castle, and this chapel is also a chapel where Order of Garter has its headquarters, or this is a special place for Order of the Garter, and Order of the Garter is the most exclusive, the most important order in the UK. In the chapel itself, also many kings and queens of the UK, as well as other members of the royal family rest. Currently, it's also a resting place of Queen Elizabeth II and Prince Philip. But unlike today, in 2018, the place was more associated with weddings. We had some recent royal weddings there, like the wedding of Prince Harry's uncle, the Earl of Wessex at the time, Edward, with Sophie. Also, cousin of Harry's, Peter Phillips, was wed there, and there was also the blessing of the marriage of the then Prince of Wales and Duchess of Cornwall in the chapel in 2005. And interestingly, the fall of the same year, there was another wedding in the chapel, and it was wedding of also Princess Harry's cousin, Princess Eugenie. She is a daughter of Prince Andrew. And Windsor, as it is a quite small city, was literally taken over by the wedding in the mid-May of 2018. Windsor had probably never been so crowded, so journalists described Windsor at that time as one big television studio. And the idea of the wedding itself, it's kind of unusual as for this type of royal event. It can be described as an intimate wedding with over 800 guests and also 1.5 billion watching live, according to BBC. Apart from the fact that it was quite a private and intimate situation, the wedding broke with some traditions, or I would say was more unconventional than, for example, the wedding of Williams and Catherine in 2011. Let's start with guests. Although there were relatively few guests in the chapel, they were really top-notch, but instead of head of state at the wedding, celebrities and friends, acquaintances of the couple were invited, and among them there were some members of the cast of the TV show Suits, where Meghan was also a big star of. There was Oprah Winfrey, George Clooney with his wife, Serena Williams, singer James Blunt, Elton John, Victoria and David Beckham, James Corden with his wife, and of course, the royal family was invited. The groom's family, for example, of Spencer, Diana's brother, the royal family, and from Meghan's family, there was a very limited number of guests. Primarily, it was her mother, Doria Ragland, but many of other members of Meghan's family weren't invited or have not arrived. But I will tackle this in the second part of this video. Additionally, 2,500 people were invited to Windsor Castle grounds, and around 200 among them were invited to the Shoehurst band, so just before the chapel. And all of the guests invited to the Windsor Castle grounds were coming from charity, or there were people who were really involved in their communities, especially those communities and charities the couple was working with in the past. The atmosphere itself during the wedding was quite more relaxed than the one in 2011, and this can be seen, for example, by the laughter that echoed in the church in the response to the crowd's reaction to Harry's vow, or during the sermon. The music was also kind of untraditional as for a British wedding in this kind of setting. It was a mix of British and American music, and not only traditional anthems were resounded, but also, for example, we had gospel choir. The music surprised many and was especially chosen for this occasion by the couple, but also with a great assistant of then Prince of Wales. Also breaking with the tradition, the sermon was not delivered by Archbishop of Canterbury, but by American Bishop Michael Carey, and it was quite memorable. Let's jump into something I'm always interested in. So, the dress. The speculations around Meghan's wedding dress were even before the announcement of the engagement, because some commentators suggested that Meghan wouldn't wear a traditional white dress with a veil because she had been married before. It wasn't the case. Of course, we know she wore white, and when we were looking for some inspiration and some sources at the time, we had one interview with Meghan, because Meghan had previously spoken about wedding dress styles. It was in 2016 when her character in Suits got married, and she said she preferred simple dresses than the one she had in Suits. So that was a clue that it's going to be very minimalistic and probably a simple style. The day before wedding, American media outlet Page Six announced that it would be Stella McCartney who will design the dress. And they were correct, but not exactly, because Stella McCartney did design a dress, but a second dress. The first one was designed by Claire Wade Keller from Givenchy. She chose Keller to create her wedding dress because of the designer's elegant aesthetic and relaxed demeanor. But the design and the name of its creator were only revealed when bride stepped out of the car and entered St. George's Chapel at Windsor Castle for the wedding ceremony. The dress was made of silk, had 3/4 length sleeves, an open boat neckline, and a train with a built-in triple silk organza underskirt. The designer helped develop a double bonded silk caddy to construct the dress. The veil. So the dress was complemented by a long 5-meter hand-embroidered veil with various flowers. The flowers were embroidered on the edge of the veil, and the veil was 3 meters wide. Creating the veil took longer than the dress. Embroiders spent 500 hours finishing it, washing their hands every 30 minutes to ensure the veil remained flawless until the wedding day. A piece of blue fabric from Meghan's first date with Prince Harry was sewn into the veil. And the flowers that were embroidered were flowers representing 33 countries of Commonwealth, plus Californian poppy to represent California, and winter sweet flowers, which grows outside Nottingham Cottage at Kensington Palace. Media noted similarities between Meghan's dress and some other royal designs in the past. For example, this worn by Angela Brown at her wedding to Prince Maximilian of Liechtenstein in 2000, and the other was Mary Donaldson at her wedding to Prince Frederick of Denmark in 2004. The dress was also compared to Givenchy dress worn by Audrey Hepburn in the movie Funny Face. Meghan's wedding dress received mixed reviews from the public, with some saying it was beautiful and stunning, while others described it as boring, baggy, and poorly fitted, criticizing the alleged lack of fit in the sleeves and waist, while others argued that the overall effect was heavy. Fashion experts noted that the silk khadi fabric would be very difficult to move in if the dress were fitted more. So it was kind of a justification of the poor fit. I'm really wondering, what do you think about Meghan's dress? I really like the simplicity and the minimalist style. Though I remember when I watched the wedding back in 2018, I thought, oh my God, her dress is just too big. It doesn't fit well. So that was also my personal experience. Though, I don't know, let me know if you agree or which team you're in. And I will be very, very pleased and very, very thankful if you would subscribe to my channel. It's a real support for me, and I would love my channel to grow so I can make more videos for you. Thank you so much. Now we can jump quickly into the accessories, and when we talk about royal wedding, the accessory is the tiara. I remember listening to podcasts in 2018 in early May, and there were speculations which tiara will it be. And it was the diamond bandeau tiara made in 1932 for Queen Mary, wife of George V, and loaned to Meghan by Queen Elizabeth II. The tiara is a platinum band consisting of 11 sections with a detachable central brooch in interlaced opals and diamonds, and it's less floral, more geometrical. And also with this tiara comes a story of a little drama, which I'm gonna tackle in the second part of this video. The other elements of the bride attire included white and gold diamond earrings and a bracelet made by Cartier. Though when it comes to Meghan's hair, it was another quite controversial topic apart from the dress, because it was styled with a face framing fringe pulled back behind the ears, and for many it looked a bit undone or done in a rush. And definitely not suitable for the occasion, because many claim that this kind of dress requires a flawless hairstyle. And I liked this more free hairstyle, though I can see the point that maybe it wasn't suited for the occasion. When it comes to makeup, I loved the makeup so much. It was natural. Meghan's face was highlighted and she looked like herself. She looked very fresh and amazing. I loved the makeup. When it comes to flowers, of course, as always, they are diligently picked, and in this case, the flowers composition included forget-me-nots, sweet peas, lily of the valley, jasmine, or sprigs of myrtle. And the sprigs of myrtle is a royal tradition to have it. The forget-me-nots were chosen by the groom and allegedly handpicked, as forget-me-nots were the favorites of Princess Diana. After the wedding, the bride's bouquet was placed on the tomb of the unknown soldier at Westminster Abbey, following a royal tradition initiated by the Queen Mother. When it comes to Harry and his outfit, both he and his brother William wore blues and royals frock coats, which looked very chic and lovely. Though when I rewatched the wedding recently, I thought that William's frock coat was a bit more noticeable because of the golden application, military application he had. Though before the wedding, there was a big topic about Harry's birth. So the groom requested and received the Queen's permission to keep his bird, as birds were allowed in the British Army only in exceptional circumstances. So he decided to ask his grandma for permission if he can have a bird in during the wedding, and she said yes. And yeah, we could see Harry with the red beard. When it comes to William, he was the best man of Harry's during the wedding, or at least we could see them together in the church. You know, we never know. As on William's wedding, it was Harry who was the best man, but in the end, Harry claims it was not like this. So we never know. But we also had a lot of page boys. I'm not gonna read them out loud because it's gonna take forever, but one of them was Prince George. When it comes to bridesmaids, Meghan did not have a bridesmaid, as for example, Catherine had Pippa, as she was her bridesmaid. But I would say kind of a bridesmaid or a companion for Meghan was her mother, Doria Ragland, who accompanied her on the way to the church and probably helped a lot in the preparations. And when it comes to the little bridesmaids, we also had quite a few, and among them Princess Charlotte. And when it comes to Meghan's family, we did not see her father during the ceremony. Is also another topic I'm gonna address in the second part. But it was announced just a day before that Meghan will be accompanied by Prince Charles on the way to the altar and not by her father. When it comes to wedding costs, the royal family announced that they would cover the wedding cost, and the cost of the cake, florist, and catering were estimated for around £500,000. But the overall cost of the wedding was estimated for around £32 million. What do we know about bachelor party and things like this? So what happened just before the wedding? On the day before the wedding, Harry and William went out to the crowd gathered outside Windsor Castle. It was similar to what they did at William's wedding when they went out to the crowd gathered outside Clarence's house. It was a little later, and as Harry himself reflected, after a drink. However, Harry spent his last bachelor night separately from his brother and, of course, the bride. As Harry recalled in Spare, William said he couldn't stay for the night with Harry because of the children, and Kate were waiting at home. It is worth mentioning that just 4 weeks before the wedding, William's wife, Catherine, gave birth to their third son. So probably that was also a factor in this decision, though Harry was kind of disappointed by his brother's refusal and remembered about it and wrote about it in the book. Harry spent his last bachelor night at Colworth Park, a country estate located in Ascot, about 20 minutes away from Windsor. When it comes to Meghan, she spent her last night before the wedding with her mother at Clifton House Hotel, about 30-minute drive from Windsor, and we could see pictures from their arrival to the estate. As there is so much to cover, not only the day and how it went and what happened after, but also the controversies and dramas around the topic, I will prepare a part 2. So it will premiere next week. For now, thank you so much for watching this part. I truly appreciate you stayed until the very end. And let me know in the comments below, how do you recall the moment of the wedding? How do you recall watching the wedding? Where have you been? What do you think about the wedding now? And let me know in the comments below what were your thoughts of the wedding when you watched it in 2018, if you watched it, and if you haven't, have you had a chance to rewatch it afterwards? Thank you so much, and see you next time. Bye bye.